Summary of Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. Cal Stephanides' first birth, as a girl, took place in Detroit in the year 1960. His second birth, as a teenage male, took place in Petoskey, Michigan, in the year 1974. He is intersex and is now 41 years old and lives in Germany. After reading about other people in history who were also intersex, he chose to write his biography. Desdemona, Cal's grandma, was born in a small town on Mount Olympus near Bursa in Asia Minor called Bithynios. Both of her parents were killed in World War I, so she and her brother, Lefty, were left without parents. Desdemona works in a place where silkworm cocoons are made. Desdemona tries to set Lefty up with girls in their village in 1922, but Lefty doesn't want to get married. Even though Desdemona and Lefty are brothers and sisters, they quietly love each other. Lefty and Desdemona live in Asia Minor, which was ruled by the Greeks for many years. When the Turks came back, they took over the area, and Lefty and Desdemona plan to run to the US via Smyrna. Desdemona sneaks her silkworm box with her, even though Lefty says that no one grows silk in America. Lefty meets a young Armenian doctor named Dr. Philibosian for a short time in Smyrna. His family is soon killed by the Turks when they attack the city. More and more signs show that the whole city is going to be destroyed and non-Turkish people will be killed. Desdemona agrees to marry Lefty because she thinks they are going to die soon. But they are able to get away at the last minute by claiming to be French citizens. They bring along Dr. Philibosian. Lefty and Desdemona pretend to be strangers on the ship to the United States and have a fake relationship and wedding. When they get to the US, their cousin Surmelina meets them. She moved to the US years ago and has become completely American. They trust Surmelina to keep the fact that they are brothers and sisters a secret because Surmelina has a secret of her own. She is a lesbian who doesn't tell anyone. Lefty and Desdemona move in with Surmelina and Jimmy Zismo, who are married. Lefty gets a job at the Ford Motor Company as a factory worker and studies English at night. But on the day he finishes his English class, he finds out he has been fired because he lived with Zismo, who has a crime record. On this same night, Surmelina and Desdemona both tell their husbands that they are pregnant because they both got pregnant at the same time. During Prohibition, Lefty loses his job and starts working with Zismo in the bootlegging business. Surmelina has a girl, and she calls her Theodora, Tessie. While Desdemona is giving birth to her son Milton, Zismo tries to drive himself and Lefty across a frozen lake to Canada for a final scheme. But Zismo drives his car onto the ice and dies, while Lefty just makes it out in time. Lefty opens the zebra room in his basement after Theodora is born and he finds himself out of work again. He also tells Desdemona that she needs to get a job. She sees an ad in the paper for a silk worker and goes to find out more about the job, but ends up in the Black Bottom neighborhood. The address in the ad was for a mosque run by the Nation of Islam, which surprised her. Desdemona starts working there, showing the young people who follow the movement how to make silk and teaching them how to do it themselves. She listens to Minister Fard's statements while she works and has to face the fact that, as a white person, she is also a part of racism. Fard tells Desdemona that he is really Jimmy Zismo and that he faked his own death when he has to leave Detroit because of a scandal. When Milton and Tessie are young adults, the story jumps ahead to World War II. Desdemona has seen that they are getting closer to each other, which makes her think of her own incestuous relationship. Milton ends up getting Tessie to fall in love with him by blowing on different parts of her body with his clarinet. But then Tessie gets engaged to a young guy named Michael Antonio, who is studying to be a priest. Milton joins the Navy because he is so angry. Desdemona is worried to death about Milton's safety, and Tessie is too, even though she won't say it. Tessie thinks that she can't marry Mike, so she breaks off the engagement and agrees to marry Milton instead. Mike ends up getting married to Zoe, who is Milton's younger sister. In Chapter 11, Milton and Tessie have a boy. When Milton takes over the zebra room, Lefty starts gaming because he has nothing else to do. He and Desdemona lose all their money, so they have to move in with Milton and Tessie. Cali is conceived when Chapter 11 is about 5 years old, and she gets 2 copies of a recessive gene that has been in her family for over 200 years. This gene makes people have intersex diseases. Lefty has a stroke the day Cali is born and loses his ability to talk. The 1967 Detroit riot starts when Cali is 7 years old. Most of the Stephanides family hides in the attic during the riot, but Milton stays in the zebra room, crouched down with a gun. Cali sneaks out on her bike to save her father because she is afraid for his life. A guy throws a Molotov bomb into the zebra room, but Milton and Cali are already safe at this point. The insurance payment is big, so the Stephanides family can buy a Cadillac and move to the wealthy neighborhood of Grosse Pointe, where they live in a strange house on a street called Middlesex Boulevard. Cali makes friends with Clementine, her neighbor's little girl, and the two start to try out sexual things together. Clementine's father dies, though, and she and her mother leave. Lefty has another stroke at the same time. His mind is getting worse to the point where he forgets big chunks of his life and thinks he lives in a different time. He tells the family the truth that he and Desdemona are brothers and sisters, but no one believes him because they think he is making things up. He dies in the end. Desdemona goes to bed because she is sad and doesn't want to get up again. She stays there for a whole decade. Later, Milton opens a chain of hot dog shops called Hercules Hot Dogs. Cali is 12 years old. She sees that other girls her age have grown breasts and started their periods, and she's worried that she hasn't. She now goes to the Special Baker and English School for Girls, where she doesn't fit in with the other girls because of her past and because she is Greek. Chapter 11 comes home from college as a completely different person. He has grown his hair long, bought a motorcycle, and started meditation and taking acid. He has also adopted the style and ideas of the counterculture. In the meantime, Cali starts to like a friend in Mr. De Silva's advanced English class, whom she calls the obscure object. When the two girls are chosen to play Antigone in a play, they become friends. Just as the first, and only, performance of Antigone is about to start, one of Cali's classmates, Hetty Grossinger, has a brain aneurysm and dies on stage. Cali and the obscure object become best friends over the course of the summer. Cali meets Jerome, who is the object's bothersome brother. Cali and her family were meant to take a trip back to their ancestral town of Bithynios, but the Turkish invasion of Cyprus made that impossible. Instead, Cali went to the object's summer house in Petoskey. There, Cali gets drunk and high on pot, then has sex with Jerome while the object hooks up with Jerome's friend Rex Reese. But not long after that, Cali and the object start having sexual relations, even though they don't say anything about it. Cali knows that her genitalia don't look the same as the object's, but this doesn't worry her too much. Soon after, Jerome sees the girls having sex on the porch and calls them carpet munchers. Cali hits him and spits in his face, and as he runs away, a tractor runs over him. The obscure object takes Cali to the hospital right away, where they kiss on the way. But they will never see each other again after this. When Cali goes to the hospital, the doctors are shocked to learn she is intersex. She is sent to New York to see Dr. Luce, a well-known sexologist who is an expert on intersex diseases. Milton and Tessie try to act like they are on vacation while they wait for Cali's test in New York, but Cali is unhappy. After learning that she is more naturally male than female and that Dr. Luce wants to give her hormones and surgery to make sure she is a woman, Cali chooses to run away and change her name to Cal to become a man. Cal hitchhikes across the country. Along the way, he cuts his hair short and buys clothes for guys. He is picked by shady people, like Ben Shear, who wants to have sex with him, and Bob Presto, who also wants to have sex with him. Cal lives in a park with a group of young homeless deadheads in San Francisco. Cal calls Bob for help after he runs out of money and gets beat up by two homeless men who find out he used to be a woman. Back in Detroit, Milton and Tessie are upset that Cal hasn't come back yet. They do everything they can to find him, even though they still think of him as her at this point, but they can't. One day, Milton gets a call from someone who says they've taken Cal and want $25,000 as a bribe. Milton says he will pay it right away. Cal ends up acting as the god Hermaphroditus at Bob's sex club, 69ers, in San Francisco. He acts with Zora, who is both male and female, and Carmen, who is a trans woman. Cal lives with Zora, and through her, he learns about intersex people and grows to like them. Zora is happy with the way she looks and is writing a book about it called The Sacred Hermaphrodite. One night, the cops raid 69ers, and Cal is put in jail. Milton drives to the agreed-upon place to give the ransom money without telling anyone what he is doing. He is shocked to find that the kidnapper is Father Mike. After a car chase, Milton figures out that Mike robbed him and is trying to get to Canada. Mike makes it to Canada, and Milton drives off a bridge and into the Detroit River while trying to catch up with him. Chapter 11 picks Cal up from jail in San Francisco and, to Cal's surprise, doesn't care about his new name. They fly back to Detroit as a group. Cal gets back together with Tessie and Desdemona, who is still in bed. Desdemona is also getting old, and when she first sees Cal, she thinks he is lefty. When Cal says that he is intersex and a transgender, Desdemona tells the secret that she and Lefty were once brothers and sisters. While Tessie and Chapter 11 go to Milton's funeral, Cal chooses to stay and guard the house's door so that Milton's spirit doesn't come back. This is a Greek practice that a male relative of the dead does to keep the dead person's spirit from coming back.
About the author. Jeffrey Eugenides, like Cal in Middlesex, was born into a Greek-American family and grew up in Grosse Pointe, a neighborhood of Detroit, Michigan. However, unlike Cal, he is only half Greek because his mother is Irish-American. Eugenides' mother was a big fan of books, so he studied English at Brown University and graduated in 1982. Then, he went to Stanford and got a master's degree in creative writing. He has lived in San Francisco, New York City, Berlin, and now Princeton, New Jersey, where he teaches creative writing at Princeton University. In 1995, he met Karen Yamauchi, a photographer and painter, at McDowell Colony, an artist's getaway in New Hampshire. He later married her. Georgia is their only child, and they are no longer together. Eugenides has won many important awards for his writing, including the Whiting Award, a Guggenheim Fellowship, and the Pulitzer Prize for Middlesex.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.